I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Thought I'd show you this very cute baby bear wedding card. The supplies are all on my website, but basically it's a card base that's half a sheet of Very Vanilla, a piece of Bermuda Bay that's 5 1/4 by 4, another layer of Very Vanilla that's 5 by 3 3/4. The ink is Bermuda Bay, Sahara Sand, Tip Top Taupe, and Early Espresso. The stamp set for this card is Baby Bear. We'll embellish it with basic pearls, Bright's enamel shape, and Very Vanilla 1/2 inch lace trim. Love this lace. I want some tiny scraps of Bermuda Bay. So I'm punching from the middle of the Bermuda Bay piece. I'm using the classic label punch, and then I can just adhere this piece onto the card front with adhesive of your choice. I want to create masks, so I'm using just sticky notes to stamp. I'm not concerned with the quality of this stamp, but I'm using the Sahara Sand for the bear and the bow in Bermuda Bay. And then I'm just going to cut these out. I always cut like several layers out, whatever's easy to use with the snips. It's no more work to cut out several than it is to cut one, and then I'll have spares. I did stamp these right next to the sticky side, and for the bow I want to cut a little bit smaller, a little bit inside the edge of the image, and that will reduce some of that halo effect. So I'm leaving a little bit around the edge. As I cut out the bear, I'm also leaving that border around the edge. And I'm not cutting out down here at all because I actually want to mask that part as well. I may need to cut around the head, but I'm not going to bother with this side of the stamp at all. There's my mask. I'm stamping the greeting to hug and to hold from this day forward using Bermuda Bay, and I want room for the lace, so I want about 1 1/4 or so from the top. I am using my Stampin' Pierce mat, and because I'm working extra hard to get that image, I was ending up stamping around the edges. I actually cut around the edges of the stamp where I was getting those halo effects, and so that helps a lot. I am going to be stamping off the edge of this card, so I'm bringing in a scrap of paper, and I'm inking my number 1 bear, the most solid one, with the Sahara Sand, and I do want her toes to be off the edge, and with the photopolymer I can actually see that it is getting a fairly good image this time. Then I'm going to bring in my mask, and I want to cover up the lady bear because I want the groom behind the bride, and so his toes are going to go off. I want him tipped a little bit, and I also want to make sure that his foot does not go beyond the stamped image. So he's going to be a little bit higher up. Now I am going to go ahead and stamp the bow at this point. I could have guessed where the bow was going to go before the bear was there, but I think that it turned out okay to have a little bit of Sahara Sand on the bow. So I'm going to stamp my most solid bow under the boy bear's chin. And I was going to stamp off and I forgot again. Even though it'll be both full strength, I will add some extra texture to the bow with this second layer. And if I could get my head right over, I could get this exactly positioned. not bad. But I can see that extra image. It would be better to have stamped off though. And I'm going to cover that bow with my mask. This stamp is called two-step stamping, but it's really three. It's got a fairly solid first step. The sheet it comes on is labeled 2 and 3, but once you move them away from your stamp set, you have to kind of rely, if you haven't kept track of them, you can tell by looking at them, I think. This is more solid, especially in the belly area. This has a more rougher kind of look to it and more particular eyes. It's easier to see the eyes on this bear. So this is number 2 and number 3. I'm going to use the number 2 now with Tip Top Taupe. And as I layer this, I'm looking at the bear's bottom and under its arms. And again, it's hard for me to do this with the camera in my way. And I could use, oh, I've got the head way off, but that's okay. You'll see that it really doesn't matter a whole lot. And we need to bring back in the mask for the boy bear. Going right over the mask on the bow. And the third layer, the one with the eyes and the most texture on the stamp, number 3, I'm stamping in Early Espresso. And I'm aiming for those same locations. And using the mask again. And then I'm going to peel off that mask for the bow. And you can see, even though I was really pretty far off on layer 2 on this bear, it still looks beautiful. I just need a little bit of ribbon to go around the back. So I'm snipping this off, and I'll turn this over and put some adhesive in the upper corners so that I can wrap this lace. I kind of like a little bit of the edge over the top of this layer. And as I bring it around the back, I'm kind of turning it down a little bit so that that second layer, in fact, maybe I'll pull this down like so. I just need to adhere this to the Bermuda Bay layer. I'm going straight onto the Bermuda without dimensionals here. I've just got a bit of the lace. This is probably 2.5. I think my directions said 3, but really 3 is kind of too much. I'm wrapping all the way around here with the tear and tape. Love this tear and tape. And then peeling off the backing so that both sides of this lace have adhesive on it. So you want to tuck the ends under and put it with the lace side up, the adhesive down, and tuck it each end between the bear's ears, and then gather it as you press it down. As her veil. You're going to use the Tree Builder punch, that little flower, and you want 3 flowers from Bermuda Bay. bringing in my Stampin' Pierce mat again and my piercing tool. I'm just poking to give a little dimension to these flowers. I'll press each of these flowers into the glue dot. And then put the middle flower and then the other two. This is pretty thick, so I'm pressing down hard. Just in case there's any adhesive left over, I'm dusting that with the embossing buddy. I'm picking up 3 of the tiniest pearls for the middle of the flowers. And I've got my Brights enamel shape. They come with 2 different sizes of circles, stars, and hearts. And so I'm pulling up a Bermuda Bay heart. And that's it. I think that this bear is so very stinking cute. Perfect for weddings and babies, or a birthday card for a little kid. Fell in love with this baby bear. If you would like to get your own baby bear, come on over to Bev Adams. I'll have the directions for you, and I have lots of organizational tools and ideas for you there as well. Talk to you soon. Bye.